It's the final countdown. We back. I'm sure y'all know about that TV show. It's an anime TV show. It's called Attack on Titan. This anime TV show has always sparked curiosity and interest with its animation style and the story type. The way they go about the story. Now, for the story of Attack on Titan, I was always intrigued by the giants and this battle, this uphill battle that these old world people faced. They had to build this great wall, Great Wall of China. They had to build this great wall to keep out these great big creatures. And these creatures were cannibals. They were unexplained, and they simply came out of nowhere. Now, when you really break it down and you think about it, the closer I've been getting with Christ, and the more I've been learning about biblical history, comes to find out the Titans actually existed.
Guilty, guilty, guilty. A lot of folks don't realize the Roman Emperor Maximus was 8'6". That's where we get our word maximum from, or Maximus's boot. He was a big boy. You know, a skeleton 9 feet 8 inch tall was found in Brewersville, Indiana, back 100 years ago. Skeletons 9 feet tall found in Nevada. You don't hear about those in your public school, do you? Huge bones, similar in every respect to man's, were found embedded in thick layers of clam shells. As many as 20 skeletons were found. Every skeleton was fully 9 feet high back in 1902 in Louisiana. A skeleton 10 feet tall found in Humboldt Lake, Nevada. The legend in Guam is that giant people built the latte stones there. In Walkertown, Indiana, 8 giants ranging from 8 to 9 feet long, all wearing heavy copper armor, were found. Through the bungling of the diggers and the disinterest of the museum establishment, the discoveries were scattered and lost. Why would a museum not be interested in 9-foot skeletons? A 12-foot skeleton found in Lompoc Rancho, California, by some soldiers. The Indians got upset because they had disturbed the grave, so they reburied it. A 12-foot skeleton was found in Tucson, Arizona. The guy had 6 toes, bird-shaped headdress. Who was moving these giant rocks anyway? That's a camel in front of it for scale, folks. This is a 39-pound copper axe head. Swing a 10-pound sledge for 20 minutes and tell me how you'd like to swing a 39-pound axe head. This is a stone that I've heard was designed to be held between the thumb and finger for chipping. I think there's a lot of evidence there were giants in the earth in those days. We've been working for several years on a book about giants in the earth. Should be coming out here one of these days. A friend of mine and I are writing this book together. The Smithsonian has been very active in hiding discoveries about giants because it goes against the evolution theory. See, evolution says we started off tiny and we're getting bigger and better and stronger and smarter. I think the Bible indicates we started off bigger and we're getting smaller and weaker and dumber. Now, it's true in the last 100 years there's been an increase of about 6 inches in average height only in industrialized countries, and that's because of increased nutrition, food supply, better sanitation, nothing to do with evolution. This is a skull from Winnemucca, Nevada. They finally took it down a few months ago because so many folks were stopping because of my seminar saying, hey, I want to see the giant skull. But there was a giant human skull on display for quite some time. This is a normal human thumb bone. Underneath is a giant human thumb bone. This was found right near Mount Ararat in Turkey. The government of Turkey claims they have found the grave of Noah. The skeleton was 12 feet tall. That would make his cubit a little bigger, wouldn't it? How big was that ark? People say 1 man and 3 boys could not build a boat that big. Oh, you didn't see those boys. Hey, Bubba, bring me that tree, would you? It's a thigh bone we've got in our museum in Pensacola, a replica of a thigh bone, 47-inch femur, indicating the man would have been about 13 feet tall. That's pretty big. There's a jawbone in a hotel in Turkey on display right now, 6.5 inches across the TMJs. Any one of you could put your head inside and rattle it back and forth inside the jawbone. In Wasaki, Wisconsin, 100 years ago, giant skeletons were found in a burial mound. One of the skulls was 3 times the size of ordinary humans. The Bible says there were giants in the earth in those days. I think it says that because there were giants in the earth in those days.
These giants were real. Can you believe it? these scary cannibal-like giants that are in Attack on Titan, the anime, were once here. And you want to know what else is crazy? They're going to return. See, the Bible mentions something about the days of the Son of Man will be like the days of Noah. And you have to realize what God's pointing out in that sentence right there. He's telling you that when Nephilim walked the world and giants walked the world, giants and Nephilim are two different things, by the way, and we'll break that down here. When these creatures were on the earth, which were the days of Noah, which was before the great flood, they're going to return. And when they return, they're going to be a headache for us, okay? Just like they were for the people in the days of Noah. But nevertheless, this anime is quite odd. You know, there's books written. You know, you think about like the creator of Attack on Titan. Wow, how did he think of this? What a creative guy. What an inspiration to the anime community. Until you catch yourself and you realize this dude took what was already written thousands of years ago and turned it into a cartoon. There's a book. Besides the Holy Bible, there's another book that mentions giants and Nephilim. You first have to know where Nephilim even come from, or giants come from. They're originators. They're mama and papas, right? You have to know where they come from. Giants and Nephilim come from the fallen angels. The fallen angels were a group of watchers assigned to mankind to watch over them and essentially help guide them to make the right decisions provided by God. Nevertheless, there's a book. The Book of Giants and the Book of Enoch. Now, this isn't per se biblical canon to most Christian communities and denominations nowadays, but you have to realize Enoch did exist, and these giants and Nephilim did exist. This book here gives you Bible scripture supporting everything that Enoch, quote unquote, documented in this book. It's pretty interesting because it lets you know what is to come. You will be Aaron Yeager one day. I'm more of a Levi type of nigga, but you gonna be an Aaron Yeager type of nigga. Let's hope you don't turn. Anyway, well, let's first break down the Book of Giants. What is the Book of Giants? Among the first 7 Dead Sea Scrolls discovered in the caves of Qumran, the Dead Sea Scroll is given the name the Book of Giants. It is thought to have been based on the Book of Enoch, pseudological Jewish work from the 3rd century BCE. The Book of Giants, like the Book of Enoch, concerns itself with the Nephilim, which is the offspring of the fallen angels, who were all called Watchers. 2 main versions of the text exist. The Dead Sea Scrolls version is written in Aramaic. Another version has been found, written in Middle Persian adapted from Aramaic to fit Manichaean religion. Both versions will be explained. Now, you know, you look at how they kill these Nephilim. Attack on Titan is a perfect embodiment of how the Nephilim were. They were cannibals. They ate us as humans. They tortured us. It mentions in the Book of Enoch how these creatures never ceased to be hungry. They ate everything. They drank everything. They left nothing for mankind to consume. They left nothing for men who are made in the image of God to partake in the fruitful bearings of the land that God produced for us. There was a watcher angel by the name of Azazel. And Azazel fell in love with a woman. He realized how beautiful the women were, and he decided to make wives of these women. And when he made wives of these women, who knows by their free will or not, these women combined seed, conjoined with these angel watchers. These angels were essentially condemned by God to never look at the heavens again, nor ever pass the firmament to get to God's throne room ever again. This is where Enoch comes into play. Enoch was a man of the Lord who was mighty in his faith. Enoch was one of the most holiest men the earth could offer at the time. This was before the flood. Keep that in mind. When Enoch stumbled upon these angels, these fallen angels, because at this point they're fallen, Azazel asked Enoch, "Can you pray for us and ask God, can he forgive us? Why isn't he talking to us? God answered Enoch in the form of dreams and visions. And he basically broke down to Azazel, you'll never be forgiven for what you've done. The women were also punished for sleeping with these angels. The women that Azazel and his fellow watcher angels misguided and essentially raped, they were turned into mermaids. And you have many stories of mermaids existing over mankind's history. I mean, you got stories of sailors out in the seas hearing sirens and these beautiful, enchanting voices that will lure them unto their untimely demise by sinking their ship. Mermaids exist, giants existed, and Nephilim existed. Now, this is the breakdown, okay? You essentially had Nephilim. These were the closest ones to the offspring. These were the closest in genetic code to the fallen angels.
どうか。かわいそう。
But as you gradually go through time, because you got to keep in mind here that in the first world, they had thousands of years to grow. People lived hundreds of years. Methuselah was the longest living human being of all time, which is like 900 plus years old. Can you imagine living 900 years today? A complete headache. I would not want to live 900 years. But people lived 900 years back then. They had thousands of years at disposal to grow, to learn, to get closer with God, to make decisions, and also to sin. During this time, the bloodline typically thins out, and that's typically how a lot of things go. You have one pure-blooded dog mixed with another pure-blooded dog, and 5 generations later, the offspring's not so pure blood. The offspring, that's when you often get dogs that are considered mutts that are mixed, but giants were essentially the mutts of the Nephilim world. Giants were smaller. Nephilim can go as high as, in some recorded ancient recordings, up to 20 to 30 feet tall. But when you look at Gilgamesh and the cubic length of his bed layout, he was about 9 to 13 feet tall. You know, so eventually they start to shrink. The mankind in them pushed through just a little more, and they started to become more normal size, but they never actually captivated the size of an average man. They always exceeded the size of an average man, and they always were grumpy, they always were brutish, and they always were mean. They always were warmongers, and they were never accepted by God or Jesus Christ.